What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be going over some unpopular opinions. So I typically do these kind of videos like once a season, towards the end of a season, kind of like a time like right now. So I asked you guys on a recent video of mine to comment your unpopular opinion about Fortnite. This is going to be something that you think that a lot of players will disagree with, and I picked the ones that I think will be interesting to kind of respond to and talk about. And that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. If you guys do enjoy this video, find it interesting, informative, whatever, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, and comment down below just kind of your thoughts on some of these opinions. You agree, disagree, whatever, and be civil down in the comments below. The first comment we're going to start with is from Martin. They say, no idea if this would be unpopular, but probably get rid of victory crowns. I never liked them. A victory royale is a win. Just because you are lucky enough to eliminate someone who is carrying a crown, isn't really relevant. Yeah, you could win 2 games in a row, but that is any different than just getting 2 wins. My reason for this is it devalues a normal win. So this, I'm not sure if this is unpopular or popular. I think a lot of this would just kind of depend on like the type of player you are. I feel like the players that are able to win frequently like the addition of crown wins, and the people who don't really win that frequently don't really care for crowns. And like they said at the end there, it devalues a normal win, and I feel like this is kind of the like main point of contention. So like the people who aren't able to win consistently and don't get a lot of kills don't have a lot of crown wins, because getting 2 wins back to back is not convenient to do if you are someone who doesn't win frequently. And then also, if you don't get a lot of kills, you're unlikely to eliminate players who have a crown and then pick it up. So they don't have as many crowns, and then they don't feel that much satisfaction from their wins, which at its core, a battle royale, winning needs to feel good and it needs to feel exciting for the game to function, because like the entire game revolves around getting wins, you know? Like a lot of the core gameplay elements of BRs aren't as fun as like a traditional shooter like Call of Duty or Battlefield, Halo multiplayer, you know? Those games have much more like condensed action, whereas BRs there's a lot more downtime, there's a lot more like boring parts, but that win is the payoff, you know? So people who don't get a lot of crowns feel like their wins don't matter as much, thus being demotivated. And then on the flip side, the people who do win consistently and have a lot of wins like crowns, because it's something extra to go for. And myself, I personally really like crowns, and it's one of my favorite things they've added to the game, just because I've been playing the game for a really long time. I started playing this game the second day it came out. I did quit in Chapter 2 Season 3, but I grinded from like the second day it came out until Chapter 2 Season 3, and was pretty much always like somewhat high on the solo win leaderboards every season. So for players who had been playing for several years, just normal win didn't really matter anymore, because we had like hundreds, if not thousands. Like you could have a somewhat below average player who has thousands of wins if they've been playing for 5 years. Like that's a really long time, you know? So for people who had been playing a long time, introducing crowns and kind of adding some new aspect to really go for and make wins feel good again, definitely like increased my interest in winning again, and something that I really hadn't felt since the game was really in like its early phases. At this point, it's kind of played out and it's not as exciting anymore, but like in the early days, they were definitely more exciting. So I think crowns were a great addition, mainly for people who had been playing for an incredibly long time. Like the commenter said, it devalues a normal win, but if you've been playing for several years, a normal win had no value anyways. So having the crowns to kind of track every season and restart every season, I think was something good. But it really just depends on which side of the argument you're on, and depending on which side you're on, like wins either have a lot of value or they don't have a lot of value, and then that's where like the crowns come in to kind of replace that. So I'm interested to see what you guys think down in the comments below. The next comment is going to be from Delight. They say, I think Epic should make a second game called Fortnite Classic, like old school RuneScape and WoW Classic, where it's just classic Fortnite without all the annoying weapons they add every season, just bare bones old Fortnite. It wouldn't affect the main game because they would both exist at the same time. They could monetize it in some way too. I feel like just having the cosmetics go between. And the first point I want to address with this comment is classic Fortnite without all the annoying weapons. People have been complaining about Fortnite adding weird, quirky, annoying weapons pretty much since the game came out. I think the Boogie Bomb came out in Season 2. Impulse Grenades, I think, came out in Season 2 or 3. And as time went on, they started adding more and more and more unique items. So this idea that there's just this like bare bones, solid, you know, no quirky, no unique items Fortnite, that you're talking like super early days. I do like the idea of them making some sort of Fortnite Classic. if you guys are unaware, with WoW Classic, I believe it has kind of like reinvigorated the WoW like player base and excitement to an extent. And there's two versions of WoW. There's WoW Classic, which is the old version of WoW, and it gets expansions added over time. I think they're currently on Wrath of the Lich King, which is like the third or second expansion. I didn't really play WoW very much at all or pay attention to it. I just had friends that were into it, so I know a decent amount about it. But WoW Classic brought a lot of players back to the game to kind of like relive their favorite moments within the game. And then they still have WoW Retail that is getting new content and updated frequently. And this actually improved retail WoW from my understanding. A lot of players got back into WoW because of WoW Classic, and then because they were enjoying the game again, they got kind of bored of the old content and started going to the new content. And I think Fortnite would have a very similar experience if they did make some sort of Fortnite Classic where you would have a bunch of old players returning who would get into like retail or current day Fortnite. I don't really know if this is something Epic would do, and whenever this is kind of brought up, people like just complain that like anybody who likes any old aspect of the game is just blinded by nostalgia, and I don't think that's really true. There is that aspect, but it's not like anytime someone likes something about the old game, that means they're blinded by nostalgia, you know? That doesn't make sense to me. People jump to that conclusion so much. I do think there's aspects of OG Fortnite which are great. There's aspects of OG Fortnite which you can never get back, no matter what they do. You can't recreate the situation where we're all new to the game at the same time again. You know, some people have been playing this game for a long time, and that just is what it is. You can't go back in time, and that's the only way you could really recapture that. One thing I would really like to see, whether or not they make some sort of Fortnite Classic, is Fortnite recycles content a lot. The update that was added today or yesterday as I'm posting this video brought back the infantry rifle and the 6-shooter weapon. They kind of unvaulted them and brought them back into the game. And then earlier in the season, they unvaulted a bunch of stuff for the Most Wanted update. The dual pistols, the suppressed pistol, the heavy sniper. You know, Fortnite vaults and unvaults items somewhat frequently, and it's just a way for them to recycle content where they can get items added to the game that kind of keep the game fresh and exciting without having to make something entirely new. But they don't do this with maps at all for some reason. So, like, we have weapons and items that get recycled and brought back into the loot pool from time to time. But if they did this with the maps, I think it'd be really dope. Imagine something like the Most Wanted event where there's just a 2-week period where they're like, okay, old map coming back, old loot pool coming back for this 2 weeks, hop on and have fun in this period of time. I think that would be really exciting. And whether or not they want to have Fortnite Classic as just like a standalone game that gets updates over time, or these like timed events where like the content is there for these 2 weeks, go experience it. I think that'd be really dope for players who played back then, and also people who didn't play back then that didn't get to like play the glory days of the game and see like the old map. And you could even do this for like any version of the map. You know, we're on season 23 right now. There's 22 different versions of the maps out there that kind of got updated over time. So a 2-week period like this in the middle, like towards the end of a season at that dull point, I think would bring a lot of excitement to the game, especially for Fortnite's birthday event. I feel like the way they handle the birthday event is incredibly underwhelming. They put like some cake at the POIs, they have the birthday battle bus, and then they have like pizza and balloons in the game. It's okay, but it's really not that exciting. Imagine how much hype and excitement, like it would blow the game up once again if the OG map was playable for a week for the birthday event, or for 2 weeks for the birthday event. I think that'd be incredibly cool. Whenever I've talked about things like this before, people are like, oh, they can't have multiple maps. I don't think that's true. And even if it is true, like Epic can do what they want with the game. They make the game, they make the engine. If they wanted to have multiple maps alongside each other, they could do it. I don't really see any reason why they couldn't, but yeah. The next thing we're going to talk about is going to be from Kevin. The Kamehameha and the Deku Smash mythics are not overpowered. They have easy ways to counter them. And I completely agree with this. It is surprising to me how much people have been complaining about the Deku Smash. So like we just got an update yesterday, and I got so many comments on that video and so many comments on my stream of people asking like, did they remove the Deku Smash? I want the Deku Smash gone. I really don't think it's that insane. I think there is nothing I would rather my opponent do in a fight than use the Deku Smash. Like, I genuinely think it is the worst item in the game. It's very avoidable with mobility. It's very avoidable with sprint. And the person is defenseless for a period of time while they try to use it. So if you have any initial damage on them before they try to use it, they're pretty much a free kill. And even if you don't have that early damage, I think they're a very easy kill, and it's something that's been in the game since December. The Kamehameha came out in August, I believe, and they're both very similar. Like, they have the same weaknesses, they have the same counters. It's just avoid them or kill the person before they get it off. I think it's a very, very easy. I have heard of people saying they don't get the audio cue for it. I've experienced that once since it's in the game. So if you're experiencing that consistently and you're getting third partied by it for that reason, I could see that being a problem, but that isn't something I consistently run into. And that's just like kind of what I think about. For people to be complaining about it this much, it has to be something that they're consistently losing to, right? And I just feel like if you're consistently losing to the Deku Smash or the Kamehameha, that is a mistake on your part. It's a very like one-dimensional item and how easy it is to play against. And if you fix that problem, you'll be not losing to it anymore. So yeah, it is surprising to me how much people have complained about it over the months, that and the Kamehameha. I think it's very easy to avoid. Kind of view it like, roller coasters have the thing that's like you have to be this tall to ride it. I feel like once you're over a certain level, the Kamehameha and the Deku Smash are just so easy to play against that they're like worthless. But if you're like under that level, then maybe it's a problem. I'm not really sure. And I'm talking like skill level and experience level and like comfortability with the game, not actual like in-game level. But yeah, I am very surprised how much people have been complaining about both of these items. Anytime I think I've died to the Deku Smash like 3 or 4 times this chapter, and every time I've lost to it, I've just felt like stupid. Like I made an obvious mistake. I shouldn't have done that, or I was being greedy in some way, or I thought it wasn't at me. I've never died to it and then felt like, wow, that was unplayable. I've always just felt like it was such like a stupid mistake on my part. The next comment is going to be from Pip. Augments were a mistake. The game was chaotic enough without people constantly rifting to escape death and having players ping through walls when the zone moves. And I actually agree with this. I think augments has generally been a positive received item. Like a lot of people like it being in the game, but I think they're incredibly broken. Like Forecast is broken, Storm Mark is broken. Like they're both incredibly overpowered, like augments, like being able to see exactly where a zone is going to be, have a radar ping every zone with no counter is pretty bizarre. There's items that you can only get from the augments. I don't think many of them have been very good, but they're perceived to be good. The Riftjector augment is annoying. I don't think it's very good, but it's certainly annoying. And as the time goes on and as more and more augments get added to the game, like Shotgun Striker when it first came out was incredibly broken. I think the 0-point dash augment is very, very good in zero build. Like, it's just a lot of, like, overpowered stuff. I think these things are I think Storm Mark is significantly more overpowered than the Deku Smash. It has no counter. If you exist near somebody who has it and you can't know that they have it, you just get pinged and then they know exactly where you are. So, like, it's busted. There's no counters. Maybe we need some augments that are, like, like cold-blooded if you've played Call of Duty, where, like, you no longer get affected by people's radar pings. But yeah, I genuinely think the game plays better without augments. I don't think they're going anywhere. It was a new thing they added in Chapter 4, and it's kind of like a new way for them to add content to the game as we've seen throughout the season. So I don't think it's going anywhere, but I do think the game plays better without augments, and for the most part, a lot of them are way too good. Then the final comment is going to be from Jones. They say you should be sent to a room after you die like Gulag. In Call of Duty, you face an opponent that killed you, and whoever wins gets a second life. So that's not how the Gulag works in COD. You don't face the person that killed you necessarily. You might end up doing that, but it's just a random person who happened to die around a similar time. If you guys never played Warzone, this is how it works. When you die, you get sent to the Gulag. You have 1 Gulag per game. I think they later increase the amount of Gulag tokens you can hold. Like you can find it and get extra Gulags. But let's just say you have 1 a game because that's how it was initially. And then you go in there, you 1v1 somebody with like a random weapon. They would change the Gulag loot pool from time to time. But you go in there, you 1v1 someone who just died or recently died. And then the winner of that gets to redeploy onto the map. And I thought this would be really cool. When Warzone first came out, I was still playing Fortnite. I did quit in Chapter 2, Season 3, and then went to Warzone for a year and a half. But I thought the Gulag would be great, and I was hoping Epic would kind of copy this idea when it first came out, but after playing Warzone, I don't think it would really work in Fortnite. So one of the reasons why the Gulag works in Warzone quite well is because money is a universal loot item, and you don't really use floor loot items too frequently. You get money to buy your loadout, and there's also other contracts that can give you money like supply runs, scavenger contracts, or bounty. So when you come off of Gulag, and then there's also a free loadout that comes at 3rd zone and at 5th zone. So when you come off Gulag, you have a few choices. You could land in a random place and hope that there's loot there for you to get. Not a great choice. You can land on like a scavenger contract that's going to spawn 3 boxes. It's going to give you a decent amount of loot. You'll get money from doing so, and you'll get money from doing the contract. So you'll probably be able to buy a loadout afterwards. You can land on a bounty and maybe run that. Or if you're close enough to when free loadout is coming, you can just land on your free loadout. So there's like a lot of ways within the game to regain, right? Fortnite doesn't have that. The only choice you would have is the first choice, where you just land at a random place and hope it's unlooted. And Odds are that might happen, it might not happen, but going around looking for scraps of loot and scraps of ammo and scraps of shield, I don't think would be a very good experience. Maybe this could work in something like squads, because if your full team hasn't died, you could just land on them, or you can land on a kill that they got. That is another thing people would do in Warzone. But just for the most part, I don't think this would be a very enjoyable experience. I initially thought it would be very good, but after playing both games and seeing that Fortnite doesn't really have any mechanics to allow you to regain, I don't think it would work nearly as good. But that's just me. I think that more often than not, you would go to your gulag, you would win your gulag, you'd come back, and then if you land at a POI and there's somebody there or somebody sees you landing, you're probably going to be dead to that first person immediately. Even if they spawn you with something like a tactical pistol, it's going to be rough to try to loot the remnants of these POIs and hope that you can string together a decent amount of weapons, some decent ammo, and shield. I think it's going to be rough. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below of these unpopular opinions, your thoughts on any of them. I hope you guys found this video interesting. Like I said, I try to do these towards the end of the seasons where there's not too much going on in the game right now or too much to talk about in the game. Most of my videos are more like informative or like tips driven, and it's weird to make those videos right now because who knows what's going to be in the game in a few days, you know? Like, it could change very significantly in a few days. So kind of mix it up towards the end of the season to make some stuff like this. I hope you guys found it helpful, interesting, whatever. Give it a like if you did, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.